15. Then when you build the capital and put it in agriculture, you move from 15 to 100. Do you understand? Do you understand now why saving is not investment? Saving is just to put the money together, but investment is agriculture, where you're now earning the real money. Do you understand? So if you don't find out about these opportunities, whether it's agriculture, whether it's the stock market, whether it's any other platform, you're never going to move from 15% to 40% to 100. Do you understand? But to access any of those opportunities, you need the bulk money, which is why you did the savings. Do you understand? So now you see how it goes. Do your due diligence. So let me talk about all these get-rich-quick schemes. One of the first things you'll notice is that they don't have an office. There's no office. MMM was their office. Do you understand? Were they registered with CAC or with SEC, SEC, or Central Bank, or any of these institutions? There was no office. So when people tell you about get-rich schemes, tell them, can I come and have a meeting in your office? And I want to see your staff. And I want to see your registration documents. Do you understand? So that we can trace you and know whether you're a real company. Who are the members of your board? And then you go to Facebook. Who are the friends we have in common? So that I can investigate. Do you understand? That's how you do your due diligence. You talk to the friends you have in common. Do you know this person from anywhere? Do you understand? So do your due diligence. Don't just invest anywhere. 2017 was my year of learning. I invested everywhere because I wanted experiential knowledge. So I set aside a fund and I said, this is my education fund. And I invested stock market, money markets, cryptocurrency, everywhere. Because I wanted to get the education. I wanted to learn and find out who are the genuine platforms and which ones are the charlatans. So please don't risk any money you cannot afford to lose. Especially if it's the first time you're investing in a platform. Try it with something that you know that, okay, if I lose this money, I'm not going to cry, before you now put in your life savings. Don't invest any money you cannot afford to lose. So part of your due diligence is you start the investment, see how they perform, see whether they defraud you before you now, decide to put in, any more money. And in Nigeria, management matters. The people running an organization usually determine whether the organization has credibility or not. So look out for who is managing it. Do they have any pedigree? Where are they from? What have they done before? Find out all those kinds of things. Part of knowledge is also knowing how to invest cheap. So for example, if you want to buy a house in Lagos, there's what you call Lagos Homes for people who are buying homes for the first time. HOMS, Lagos Homes, HOMS. It's a scheme by the Lagos state government that allows you to rent to own. So you don't need to put down bulk money if you want to buy a home for the first time in Lagos. So there are all these opportunities that allow you to invest and not spend a lot of money that ordinarily you don't need to spend. So there are all these kinds of opportunities that you can take advantage of. Safeguard your principal and speculate with your profit. I'll explain that. About 12 weeks ago, I made 204% on Diamond Bank shares in a period of 6 weeks. 204%. Now, a wise person will remove 100% first. Bring out your principal. Do you understand? So if I had put in, say I had put in 100,000 naira and I made 204%, that means I've made times 2. As a wise person, shouldn't I remove my principal? Then I can speculate with the remaining 104, anything that happens. Do you understand? But I've collected my original money back. So one of the principles of investment is don't play with your principal. You can speculate with your profits, but your principal is sacred. Collect that money back. Don't be greedy. Don't think, maybe this thing will go to 300. Do you understand? And in 12 hours, you can lose everything. Do you understand? So don't be greedy. Once you've made money, secure your principal. Then whatever is left, if you want to put it back, fine. Do you understand? So please, that's also another. I'm going to round up by telling you about at least 7 places you can invest. That's going to be the ending. But I just want to at least teach you the principles. Please never put all your eggs in one basket. If you're investing in agriculture, invest in money market as well, invest in real estate as well. Don't put all your eggs in one particular asset class, because if anything goes wrong, you've lost all your money. So try and just spread your investment around as much as possible. I'm going to skip some things that are not really relevant. Never leave money lying fallow. Which is one of the reasons why you spend it, because the money is just lying in your account. So lock it up somewhere in an investment so that you're not tempted, to just easily, quickly spend it. So please don't leave money. One of the reasons why I like knowing my percentage return on investment is so that for every day the money stays in my account, I can calculate how much I've lost in terms of returns. So if I know I'm supposed to be making 15% per annum, that's about, divide that by 12, 1 point something per month, divide that by 28, you get how much you're supposed to be making per day. So if you leave that money just lying around in your account, you're losing money. Do you understand? Money that you could have made if you had locked that money up and you had invested it. So never leave money in your account. If it's not for operational expenses, lock it up immediately so that you're earning money from that. Then please identify partners. So one of the things you need in terms of starting investment, apart from getting the education and the knowledge, you also need to know, okay, where are the credible companies? Who are the credible partners that you can invest with, right? So it's not enough to have the money to invest. You must know where to invest, and you must know who to trust, right? So part of your preparation is identifying credible partners by doing your due diligence, visiting offices, checking friends in common, calling them on the phone, finding out all these details, and then you narrow down based on all these investigations. These are the companies that I feel are trustworthy, and then you can now begin to, because you're going to need partners. At some level, you're going to need tax consultants as you invest. You're going to need accounts. So you need to start identifying, even when you don't have money, identify them now. In fact, how they treat you now is a good way, of determining whether they're the kind of people you want to grow with. Do you understand? So try and identify different partners. You may not need a stockbroker now, but at least find out who are the credible stockbrokers around you. So the day you then need a stockbroker, you're not searching for one because you already know, who you can work with. So try as much as possible to identify partners, people that can help you when you invest. Please know when to stop as well, which is why I said you need a goal. If your goal is to finance your children's education and it's 50 million, the minute you hit 50 million, transfer that money into a money market fund that can never go missing. Because money market fund is backed by the federal government sovereign bonds and treasury bills and commercial papers of blue chip companies. So you can never lose your money. It's safe. So the minute you hit your 50 million, just remove the money. You've hit your target. There's no point. Know when to stop. Do you understand? Once you hit your target, remove that money first, then you can start a new target. Do you understand? Don't use that same money for the new target. Remove it. Because at that point, you're now playing with your children's education. Do you understand? So know when to stop. Don't be greedy. Which is why that MMM, it was just greed. If people had just removed their money. There's a principle of investment: high risk, high reward. And then low risk, low reward. So for people who like high risk, yes, you will hammer. You will make a lot of money because you're taking high risk, but a lot of times they're also the first to get burnt. Do you understand? Because a lot of high risk platforms are not sustainable. They only pay the first people who enter. And then all the other people who hear about it 2 weeks later are the ones that get burnt. Do you understand? So high risk, high reward, but you can also lose all your money in the blink of an eye. And then low risk. So people who don't want to take risk, chances are you're not going to earn more than 15% per annum. Because low risk, low reward. You don't want to lose your money, then you can't expect to earn any. So you have low risk, medium risk, and high risk. So low risk, you earn about 15%. Medium risk, you earn about 40%. High risk, 100%, maybe 60% upward. So sometimes what you can do is just divide your portfolio into 3. This money, I can never afford to lose. Put it in low risk. Then this one, someone gave me for Christmas, so I didn't earn it. So if I lose it, I'm not really going to cry. High risk. Do you understand? Then medium risk is, okay, maybe not. Do you understand? So you can actually divide your portfolio and decide this is the percentage I can afford to risk. But at the back of your mind, immediately you get ×2 of your principal. Remove the principal first. Because it's high risk now. So in your mind, this thing can break at any time. Do you understand? So your mind is, immediately I make this money, remove the principal. So you can divide your portfolio like that, so that the money you can't risk, please just put it in a very low risk, low return, and then the money you want to speculate with, you can then do, high risk. I'm going to say one more thing and then talk about briefly 7 places you can invest, and then hopefully take 1 or 2 questions. Let me just see if there's any other important thing out of the 20 things, and then move fast. Yes, there are 2 things I want to talk about. Move fast, and then about writing your will. Move fast. Opportunities never wait for people. The first time I invested in agriculture, there was a small company that I was working with, and at the time I invested, I was earning about 20% in 3 months. But a small farm that I was working with. So I was earning about 20% in 3 months. A lot of people didn't know about the farm. So we were only a few people sharing the profits, which was why we could earn that much. But by the time the guy started advertising and opened it up to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, our return suddenly became like maybe 8%. At which point I exited because I was like, I didn't come to Lagos Count Bridge. But because I moved fast, I was one of the first to start investing. So at least I enjoyed that 20% for about a year. 20% every 3 months before other people jumped in. So you find out that in investment, first mover advantage is everything. But that assumes you would have done your due diligence on time. Do you understand? Which is what I'm saying, identify partners early. Don't wait till you have the money before you do your due diligence and before you identify the partners. So in investment, first mover advantage is everything, because returns never last. The more people come into an investment, the more the returns, because now we have to share it. Do you understand? So the returns are going to... So you understand why people don't like talking about investment in Nigeria? Because you're coming to reduce our return. Do you understand? That's why people don't like... I'm being honest. That's why people don't like talking about investment opportunities in Nigeria. Because the more people talk about it, the more other people will enter and reduce the return. Do you understand? So a lot of times when I talk about investment, I've already made my money. Do you understand? So I'm just being very honest. So the 7 places I'm going to talk to you about right now, I've already made my money. Do you understand? Because really, I mean, I took the risk. I did the research. Shouldn't I profit? Yes, now. Do you understand? So you two go and do your research and find your own hustle. And don't tell anybody until after you made your until after you made your money. You know. Okay, so quickly, 7 places. But before I do it, do your will. A lot of people die with monies in their account, and their children can't access it. So please always try to have, even if you don't do a formal will, at least have a place, maybe a safe or whatever, where you put a lot of your data and your information, and have someone that in the event that you die can access that safe. Do you understand? So that you don't have property and nobody knows where the property is. Do you understand? I know Nigerians, we love that kind of thing, but please document your wealth. Document your wealth. So that in the event anything happens to you, your loved ones can access your accounts, can access whatever assets that you have. So please just document next of kin. Make sure you keep it updated. Some people, before you married, your next of kin was your mother. Now that you've married, shouldn't you change it? Do you understand? Some people are divorced. They've not changed their spouse. So please keep your next of kin up to date. Do you understand? So money doesn't pass to the person that you don't want it to pass to. So please just keep your documentation up to date. Okay, so 7 places. I've talked about money market fund. Everybody just Google it or read my article, subomiplumptre.com/1 million. Capital market, I've talked briefly about that. Shares. The NSE did about 42% between in 2017. So please invest. If you don't have a low tolerance for risk, the capital market is also one of the places that you can invest. But you may need a partner. You can invest on your own. There are online platforms like Merrytrade or Easy Trade that allow you to buy and sell yourself. You don't need to talk to anybody to buy shares. So you can actually do it yourself if you like. But at a certain level, you might want to partner with people who are in that space, because they hear about things before you hear about. If a share is going to tank, they would have heard about it and cleaned out. Do you understand? So sometimes it's good to have friends, have people, stockbrokers who are in that industry. So if anything is going to go wrong, they would, give you a heads up or at least advise you on what to do. But that's also a very, very good place, especially the blue chip companies, the companies that are not going to go anywhere. Do you understand? I mean, a company like Guarantee Trust Bank, it's not going to go anywhere. Even though when Diamond was giving me 204, Guarantee Trust Bank gave me 27 in the same period. So it may not be a very high growth, share, but at least they perform. Do you understand? So if you're going to do capital markets, please do it with guidance, because it's high risk. There are no guarantees. You can lose your money. Agriculture, I've spoken about agriculture. You can invest in agriculture directly through a farm. Then there are all these online platforms that allow you to invest. Farm Crowdy, Thrive Agric. These are all platforms that allow you to invest. So if you don't want to visit the farm, but you just want to put your money in, and then at the end of 6 months, they will invest it on your behalf, and at the end of 6 months, they'll give you back your money with your returns. But obviously, those who invest directly in farms earn more money than those who use the online platforms, because they will charge the admin fee. Do you understand? So the return will reduce because they will also make their own money. So if you can directly invest in a farm, again, due diligence. You will make more money than using the online platforms. But if you're just starting out and you just want to get a sense of agriculture, You can use an online platform, go with them for the farm visits, so that you can actually just get a sense of how agriculture investing works. So that's agriculture. Export is also another way to make really good money in Nigeria, and you earn in foreign exchange. And what a lot of the exporters are doing now is because they realize it's so difficult to get money from banking institutions, and the rates sometimes are prohibitive. So what a lot of the big exporters do is they now set up cooperatives. So for people who have disposable income and want to give them bridge funding, and then by the time their goods get to wherever they're going and they're paid, they then pay the investors. But again, due diligence. It has to be an exporter that has a track record, has credibility, has been there forever. And you've never heard that they've stolen anybody's money. Do you understand? So that's part of your due diligence. But at least it allows individuals with smaller amounts of money to come together in the cooperative and then fund exporting activities. Remember, I'm talking about investment. I'm not talking about entrepreneurship. So my job is not to teach you how to export. My job is to teach you how to invest in export. Do you understand the difference? So export is one. So I've talked about money. Can you remind me? Money market, capital market, agriculture. How many is that? 4. Sorry? Sorry? 4, right? Yeah, okay. Real estate is another way, and you can invest in real estate in different ways. Virgin land, so all of that land along Lekki Ekpe, community land, that's virgin land, so there's nothing on it, it's bush. So some companies, what they've done is to buy off the community so that you're not the one dealing with Omonile. So you have companies that have bought from the Omonile and they are now reselling to people like you who want to, buy virgin land. So it's long term because for the next maybe 5 to 10 years, development is going to progressively get to that area. So those Ikorodu, all those kinds of places, you will find virgin land where there's just bush, nothing, no utilities, no NEPA, no water, nothing, no road. It's completely virgin, but in 5 to 10 years, the hope is that development, again, due diligence, buy from reputable companies. Sometimes if you're buying a large expanse of land, get your lawyer involved. It's better to pay 50,000 and do your verification than to lose 2 million. So please get your lawyer involved. Just pay for verification. Let them at least go and check who really owns this land. Is this land meant for a railway in future? Do you understand? Let them do all of those checks. Then did that company really buy from the community? Do you understand? All those kinds of things, So it's better just pay the 50,000, do your verification. If you're going to buy a large tract, do you understand? So that you're not losing your money and nobody's telling you stories that touch. Do you understand? Another way to do real estate is you want to renovate and sell. So sometimes you can buy a property with a building that is already on it. So maybe a pensioner wants to sell maybe some land they got from government allocation, and maybe there's a building on it. And then you can decide, okay, let me buy this, renovate it, and sell it at market value. That's also another way you can invest in real estate. Sometimes you can even do joint ventures. You can, get a piece of land with a building on it, knock it down, divide it into 2, do 2 flats. You take one, you give the original owner one, and then sell. Do you understand? So there's so many things you can do in real estate. It's not just buying land. There's so many other opportunities depending on how much capital. So if you don't have money, virgin land should be your starting point. Because virgin land, you only need like maybe 125,000 or between 125,000 to maybe 500,000 to buy virgin land. So you can start there, and then as you begin to build your capital, you can do other things with real estate. So how many is that? 5. There's one other thing before I go to cryptocurrency. Real estate. Venture capital, yes. So if you want to invest in businesses, so maybe you have a friend who wants to open a salon, or you have a friend who is running a cake, a bakery, or some manufacturing plant, or doing shea butter, or something like that, and they want you to invest. That's the riskiest form of investment. That really, of all the ones I'm going to talk about, venture funding is the riskiest form of investment because there's, especially if it's seed funding, as in a startup, something that is, a business that is just starting. Do you understand? It's risky. Anything can happen. Anything in Nigeria can happen to that business. So a lot of times you invest on faith. So it's not for a new investor, because if for a new investor, you don't want to lose your money. Do you understand? But for someone who has 1 million they're not using, then you can invest in a startup. But if that's the only money you have, please, that's not the time to start doing, big sister. Keep your money. Do you understand? So investing in a business is a form of investment. So what will happen is that maybe they give you a certain percentage every year, and then over time, they pay you some lump sum. If it's an existing business, sometimes it's lower risk, because at least you see that their products that they are selling, they have customers. Do you understand? So sometimes it's less risk to invest in a business that is already running than to invest in a business that is just starting. And then finally, for those who want to invest in cryptocurrency, that's also another form. A lot of people talk a lot about cryptocurrency, but I tell them that the underlying technology, which I can't really spend too much time talking about, blockchain technology, has so many applications. Cryptocurrency is just one of several applications of the underlying technology. And originally, cryptocurrency was created to reward the people that make the network work. So the people that verify the transactions, validate the transactions, we needed a way to reward them. So that's how cryptocurrency originally came about. Because it's open source, there's no central system that is maintaining the network. We are all borrowing the network, our computing power. So in borrowing the network, our computing power, we need to get paid. We're running NEPA bills. Do you understand? So that's originally how cryptocurrency came about, just to pay people who verify the transactions, validate the transactions, and contribute their computing power. But now everybody sees that we can trade it and we can make money. So that's really where the craze came from. So it's extremely risky, but the underlying technology, there's so many wonderful things. It's being used for healthcare, it's being used for governance. Sierra Leone just did a press release that they used it for an election. They did a test run using blockchain for their election. So there's so many wonderful applications that people can make money from beyond trading, coins with funny names. Okay, so it's also another form of investment for those who are futuristic, because it is the future. For those who are really, really, the same way that social media at one point, everybody used to laugh about it and think that it was for small boys and girls. And then all of a sudden, institutions now started using social media. So it's one of those futuristic things that would redefine the world. So it's something that if you have a very long-term view. One of the reasons why I got into blockchain technology and cryptocurrency was I just realized that, so you mean a guy in Mushin who has access to a mobile phone and internet can trade with a guy in Belgium without taking permission. I was so tripped. I was like, wow. That it's the only market in the world where nobody cares about the color of your passport. For me, that's so liberating that nobody asks me, are you a Nigerian? And nobody looks at me funny, because it's completely anonymous. So I saw the potential early, and I was like, wow, so you mean someone can, be in Akuwonjo and they're trading with someone in New Zealand and they're making money and they don't need permission. I was like, wow, this thing is going to change the economy and change, the face of finance, which is why a lot of banks are scared because it's like you're creating a parallel economy. Last week, I bought a ticket with proceeds from cryptocurrency, a plane ticket in dollars. So I just realized, okay, when I'm traveling abroad, why am I always changing naira to, do you understand that? I can actually just earn dollar income and use dollar income for dollar denominated expenses. Why am I always changing naira? Do you understand? So I just realized, so for me, that it's those kinds of things that just light bulb is like, wow, this is the potential. Yeah. So we're done. How many questions can we take? So let's take 2 or 3 questions and then we're rounding up. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so I recently started a small business, an online shop, and I had a friend that wanted to invest in it. And initially I was like, please keep your money, let me not just ruin your investment. And he was asking me about his return on investment, and I did not know how to, because I know I need money for this, and that, but how do I calculate it? And if I lose the person's money, am I going to jail,
Okay. For venture funding, it obviously is an area that you now need to research, so that the next time someone asks you that kind of question, you've done your research and you know the answer that you need to give. But most times in Nigeria, venture funding is really a glamorous name for a loan, because we really don't have a structure for venture funding in Nigeria. In America, you can invest in Facebook and know that in 5 years, you're going to do an IPO. Facebook is going to do an IPO, and we're all going to be rich. But we don't have a structure for young businesses to do IPOs in Nigeria. So the only way a business can make money is from sales. Do you understand? So for the investor, there's really no upside, because it means unless you become successful, I can't get my money out of that structure. Do you understand? So for a lot of investors, it's really a loan. Just treat it as a loan and decide what's the percentage you're going to be giving him every year. And if you cannot pay, it is a bad debt. The money is gone. So part of your agreement is you will do your best to pay, but in the event, it's up to him. If he doesn't ask for security, collateral, that's his headache. As long as it's clear in the agreement what the terms are. But if he says, oh, I like your business idea and I'm going to invest by faith and I'm not going to disturb you for the next 5 years, then all well and good. And he says, okay, I'll take 5% in your business and I won't disturb you. So as long as every year you give me a report, this is what's happening, and I can see that you're managing the business well, I'm not going to take anything from you, because I'm hoping that in 5 years, this 1 million naira business is now 10 billion. So at that point, my 5% of 10 billion is a lot of money. Do you understand? But if he's not willing to do that, then it means what he's doing is a loan. And just agree on the percentage return you're going to be giving him every year or every month or whatever. What? No, that's what I'm saying. If it's not a business that is generating cash, then it can't be a loan agreement now. Do you understand? It's only a loan agreement if the business has cash flow and you can afford to pay the return on the interest or whatever. But if it's not a business that is generating cash, then it has to be an equity arrangement where he takes a percentage. And he says, it's an angel investing structure. I will leave you a loan, 5%, but as long as you can show me that the business is doing well, then in 5 years, I will vest that investment, okay? So 2 more questions and we're done. There's someone at the back who is number 3, so we just know, and then the lady at the back here.
Thank you.
Yep.
My question is, what is your take on investing in Forex? And is it better to invest in cryptocurrency or Forex?
It depends on your competence. Which one do you know? Remember, invest in what you know. So it depends on what you know. If what you know is Forex, shouldn't you invest in Forex? So it's really up to you. There's no good or bad investment, because based on your competence and level of skill, you can make money. Do you understand? So I don't do Forex. I do capital market and cryptocurrency because that's what I know. Do you understand? So just focus on, research the pros and cons, and based on what you think you might have time for and that you have interest in, then make a decision. The CBN recently came out with a statement talking about cryptocurrency, and I laughed. Their initial statement was that as long as you're not using cryptocurrency for money laundering and financing terrorism, that really there's nothing illegal about it, because what you're using is your money, and they can't stop you from using your money for anything. So their statement was, as long as they don't link it to terrorism and money laundering, it's fine. But I find that governments don't understand that cryptocurrency does not reside in Nigeria and that they have no jurisdiction over the internet. I'm not sure governments understand. So it's foolhardy. You're just going to be losing taxes, because it means that Nigerians will not put the money here. Because the money really does not, the money is in dollars, it doesn't reside here. So governments are just going to be losing taxes. That's just what's going to happen. So smart governments will rather collaborate so that they earn money than try to drive it underground, because then you just lose taxes. Okay? Last question.
Okay, so my question is actually kind of related to ours. I wanted to ask about cryptocurrency and ask if you were organizing any training on that soon. I mean, I've tried to read up on it online, but it's a bit not so easy to, get. So I was wondering if you're organizing any sort of training.
I mentioned that I do a WhatsApp and video course, 3 days, WhatsApp and video. So if you go to my website, SubomiPlumptre.com/courses, COURSES, SubomiPlumptre.com/courses, COURSES. So every month I just do a course and I teach about the 7 different investments, but this time around I give you actual information that you can use to make your first investment, and then I teach you how to design an investment plan so that you have something that you're working with and that you can immediately execute with. But SUBOMI, then Plumptre, PLUMPTRE. Yes, SUBOMI, PLUMPTRE. But /course, SubomiPlumptre.com/courses, COURSES. There's one starting, registration ends on Tuesday. So if you miss Tuesday, April. The next one is in April, if you miss Tuesday. Okay? So, but cryptocurrency is not that hard to, information is everywhere. Information is on the internet. There's nothing you want to know that there isn't a YouTube video for. If you go to YouTube and you type in, how do I trade cryptocurrency? A video will teach you step by step. Do you understand? So the information is not the problem, it's the skill. So a lot of people have the information, but then the skill to do, to invest, and then it comes by experience. So you need to get your feet in, start, and then over time you gain the experience. You may lose money, then you will know, okay, these are things I shouldn't do. So it's experience, So thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Subomi. Have we found that useful? Fantastic. Although Subomi is always dissing.